Germany is changing. The winds of transformation are sweeping across the nation, bringing with them a renewed sense of purpose and direction. For decades, it was a nation defined by peace. The streets were calm, the parks filled with laughter, and the focus was on building a prosperous society. It focused on prosperity and social welfare. The German people enjoyed a high standard of living with strong social safety nets and a robust economy. But now Germany is rebuilding its military. This shift marks a significant departure from its post-World War II stance of demilitarization. This is a major shift. Political analysts are debating the implications, and military parades are becoming a more common sight. It has shocked many in Europe and beyond. European leaders are holding emergency meetings, and citizens are glued to their screens trying to make sense of the new reality. The world is a more dangerous place. Global conflict zones are multiplying, and international security forces are stretched thin, patrolling volatile regions. Russia's war in Ukraine is a stark reminder of this. Germany feels threatened. The images of war-torn Ukraine are a grim reminder of the fragility of peace. It no longer believes it can rely on others for protection. The German Defense Ministry is buzzing with activity as military planners work around the clock to bolster the nation's defenses. The United States has been pressuring Europe. NATO meetings are filled with discussions about increased defense spending and shared responsibilities. It wants its allies to spend more on defense. European defense ministers are grappling with budget allocations, trying to balance domestic needs with international obligations. America can no longer be the world's policeman. The sight of American soldiers withdrawing from bases around the world is a clear signal that the era of US global dominance is waning. Europe must take more responsibility for its own security. The European Union is stepping up, organizing military exercises and strengthening its collective defense mechanisms. This is a pivotal moment. The clock is ticking, and European leaders are signing agreements that will shape the future of the continent. Germany's remilitarization has the potential to reshape the balance of power in Europe. The sight of German tanks in formation is a powerful image, signaling a new era of military readiness. It raises many questions about the future of the continent. As European citizens gather in town hall meetings and news anchors debate the implications, one thing is clear: the future of Europe is at a crossroads. After World War II, Europe was in ruins. The war had left cities in shambles, economies in tatters, and millions of people displaced. The sheer scale of destruction was unprecedented, with entire neighborhoods reduced to rubble and infrastructure obliterated. The continent was physically and economically devastated. Factories that once powered the industrial might of nations lay silent, and the streets that had buzzed with life were eerily quiet. The human cost was staggering, with countless lives lost and families torn apart. A new order was needed. Political leaders from across the globe convened to discuss the future, recognizing that rebuilding Europe was not just a regional concern, but a global imperative. International conferences were held, and plans were drawn up to restore stability and prosperity. The United States stepped in to help. Recognizing the strategic importance of a stable Europe, America launched the Marshall Plan, a massive aid program designed to rebuild war-torn regions, revive economies, and prevent the spread of communism. America provided financial aid through the Marshall Plan. Billions of dollars were funneled into European economies, funding infrastructure projects, revitalizing industries, and providing much-needed relief to struggling populations. It also offered military protection. The presence of American troops and the formation of NATO ensured that Western Europe was shielded from potential threats, particularly from the Soviet Union. This allowed Western Europe to focus on rebuilding. With security concerns addressed, nations could channel their resources and energy into reconstruction efforts, rebuilding cities and restoring normalcy to daily life. It could invest in its economies and its people. Factories reopened, schools and hospitals were built, and the foundations for long-term economic recovery were laid. The focus was on creating a better future for the next generation. At the same time, the Soviet Union loomed large. The Eastern Bloc, under Soviet influence, presented a stark contrast to the rebuilding efforts in the West, and the ideological battle lines of the Cold War were being drawn. The Cold War was beginning. Tensions between the East and West escalated, leading to a prolonged period of geopolitical rivalry and the ever-present threat of nuclear conflict. Western European nations adopted social welfare programs. These programs aim to provide a safety net for citizens, ensuring access to healthcare, education, and social services. These were similar to those in communist countries. By offering robust social programs, Western Europe sought to counter the appeal of communism and demonstrate that capitalism could also provide for the well-being of its people. The goal was to prevent the spread of communism. Anti-communist sentiment was strong, and efforts were made to ensure that Western Europe remained firmly in the capitalist camp. The post-war bargain was clear. America would provide security. In return, Western Europe would focus on economic growth and social stability, creating a prosperous and peaceful region. Europe would focus on prosperity and social justice. Economic growth was paired with social reforms, leading to a period of unprecedented prosperity and the establishment of a robust middle class. This system worked well for decades. The foundations laid in the post-war years led to the creation of the European Union and a period of sustained peace and cooperation. It brought peace and stability to Western Europe. The post-war bargain not only rebuilt a continent but also set the stage for a new era of peace, prosperity and unity in Europe. Today, the post-war bargain is under strain. The United States is no longer willing or able to bear the burden of Europe's defense alone. European nations are being asked to contribute more. This has led to a difficult choice. Money spent on defense is money that cannot be spent elsewhere. European governments are facing pressure to cut social programs. These programs are popular with voters. They are seen as a key part of the European model. The choice is start guns or butter. Investing in defense means less money for healthcare, education, and social security. This is a difficult trade-off for any government to make. Europe is known for its strong social safety net. Countries like Germany, France, and the Scandinavian nations provide generous benefits to their citizens. These include universal healthcare, free or subsidized education, and generous unemployment benefits. These programs are expensive, they are funded by high taxes, but they are also very popular. They are seen as a fundamental part of the European social contract. The pressure to increase military spending is putting these programs at risk. Governments are facing difficult choices. They must decide whether to raise taxes, cut others' spending, or reduce social benefits. None of these options are appealing. The war in Ukraine has added urgency to the debate over European defense spending. Russia's aggression has shown that Europe is not immune to threats. It has also highlighted the importance of energy security. Russia has been able to use its energy exports as a weapon. It has cut off gas supplies to Europe in an attempt to pressure governments. This has caused energy prices to soar. It has also made Europe more reliant on other suppliers, such as Russia. Despite sanctions, Russia continues to earn significant revenue from its energy exports. This money is being used to fund the war in Ukraine. It is also being used to prop up the Russian economy. Section 6. Comparing apples and hand grenades. Europe spends a significant amount of money on social programs. These programs include a wide range of services, such as public transportation, healthcare, and education. The investment in these areas is aimed at improving the quality of life for all citizens, ensuring that everyone has access to essential services regardless of their economic status. In fact, it accounts for a disproportionately high share of global social spending. This means that Europe, as a region, allocates more of its budget to social services than many other parts of the world. This commitment to social welfare is a defining characteristic of European governance. This is often cited as evidence that Europe is a more equitable and just society than other parts of the world. The visible benefits of this spending can be seen in the well-maintained public parks, the thriving community events, and the overall sense of well-being among its citizens. However, it is important to note that Europe also benefits from the security umbrella provided by the United States. The presence of US military bases and the participation in NATO exercises contribute significantly to the region's defense capabilities. This has allowed European nations to spend less on defense than they otherwise would have. By relying on the security provided by the US, European countries can allocate more of their resources to social programs and other domestic priorities. It is difficult to compare military spending and social spending directly. They serve different purposes and address different needs within a society. Military spending is focused on national security and defense, while social spending aims to improve the quality of life for citizens. They are both important investments in different aspects of a nation's well-being. While military spending ensures the safety and security of a nation, social spending ensures that citizens have access to essential services and a good quality of life. However, it is clear that there is a trade-off between the two. Governments must carefully balance their budgets to ensure that both defense and social services are adequately funded. This often involves difficult decisions and prioritization of resources to meet the needs of the nation. Section 7. The Ghosts of the Past. Germany's remilitarization has raised concerns about the country's past. Germany has a dark history of militarism. It was responsible for 2 world wars. After World War II, Germany was determined to atone for its past. It adopted a pacifist foreign policy. It focused on economic integration with its European neighbors. Germany's remilitarization does not mean that it is returning to its militaristic past. However, it's a sensitive issue. It's important for Germany to be mindful of its history as it increases its military capabilities. Section 8. A different path forward. There are alternatives to reducing social welfare to fund increased military spending. One option is to increase taxes. This would allow European governments to generate more revenue without having to make cuts to essential programs. Another option is to focus on more efficient defense spending. European nations could cooperate more closely on defense. They could also prioritize investments in new technologies that could help them to deter threats more effectively. Finally, European nations could work to address the root causes of conflict. This would involve investing in diplomacy, development, and humanitarian assistance. Section 9. Conclusion. A crossroads for Europe. Europe is at a crossroads. The old order is crumbling. The United States is no longer willing to be the guarantor of European security. Russia's aggression has shown that Europe is not immune to threats. Germany's remilitarization is a symptom of these changes. It is a sign that Europe is taking on a more active role in its own defense. This is a necessary step, but it is not without risks. Europe must find a way to balance its security needs with its commitment to social welfare. It must also find a way to work together more effectively. The future of the continent depends on it.
So hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications, and let's turn the page on a new adventure together. Get ready to experience books like never before, only on VBook 360. Like, comment, and share to support the channel and keep the video magic alive. Thank you for stopping by. And remember, every video has a story, and every story deserves to be shared. See you in the next video.